Hi, everyone. This is Jim Eischen from Lofty Learning, and I'm here on behalf of WMD, a not-for-profit foundation that does social media projects to promote peaceful resolution of conflicts. And I have with me Genjo Marinello today. Genjo, thank you for being with us today.
Happy to be here, Jim. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. This is COVID-19, 5 questions, 5 minutes. So the point of this is to ask 5 questions of a variety of very interesting people to find out their answers about what they've learned from the pandemic. So without further ado, Genjo, question number 1, what is your name, occupation, and where are you located right now?
My name is Genjo Marinello. I'm a psychotherapist. That's how I make my money. I'm also a Zen Buddhist priest, which is what this garb is about. I'm married to my wife, Carolyn, here in Seattle, Washington.
Thank you for being with us. Question number 2. What do you do that you feel makes the world a better place?
Well, I'm a psychotherapist, so I'm still able to see clients by Zoom is how I've been doing that, or FaceTime or Skype or something. And I'm also, as a Zen Buddhist priest, we found a big uptick in people wanting to come to meditation, even if it's on Zoom. And I was a little surprised by that, but every morning and most evenings, I'm leading an hour of meditation. And that seems to be something that people are looking for to calm themselves down and root. Also on Saturdays, I've been leading a council, which we hadn't been doing before. A council is where everybody gets a chance to meditate first and then speak from their heart, listen from their heart. And then I'm also leading what's called a Dharma dialogue on Sundays, and we've put that up on Zoom. And the topic ever since the pandemic really started to shut things down has been about COVID-19 and the impact on everyone. So that gives another place for people to process.
Outstanding. That leads me to my next question. Question number 3. What have you learned from the COVID-19 pandemic?
I've learned a lot more about my neighbors, and I've learned a lot more about how this is one world and we're one humanity. And you can feel it as you watch videos all around the world of places that are shut down and everyone's struggling with the same pandemic. It brings us all together in a way. That's something I really liked, actually.
What do you think is the greatest challenge or conflict arising from the pandemic?
Well, there's a lot of death and dying obviously going on. And the fact that we know so little about the COVID-19 that we can't even be with our loved ones when they're dying, that's an awful tragedy. And the other thing is that it points out again the disparity between privileged and non-privileged and rich and poor, and the impact that that has on the world at this point, and showing up how that disparity is really playing out in throughout the world. And so that's something that I think is very consciousness raising. And our response, whether, let's say compare New Zealand or South Korea and the United States, it's really the difference in the kind of response that our national government has been able to mount against COVID-19 is, feels despicable, in my opinion. And so that hurts to know that I'm living in a country that's responding collectively so poorly.
So the final question of the 5-question interview is, and focusing on what you've just spoken about, I think most recently, what do you think the solution is to that challenge you just identified?
Well, there is an election coming up, and I do think that I'm very supportive of mail-in votes. That's one thing that the president seems to be against, but it seems so obvious in the midst of a pandemic that we need to up our capacity to do mail-in voting. Here in Washington State, that's already given, and we're having no trouble with it here for the whole state. And I just think that's one of the quickest and best ways to further democracy and bring some change is to have mail-in voting, especially at this time of the pandemic. This is a great time to implement that.
Well, Genjo, I want to say thank you very much. I've been mail voting for at least a decade or more, and I feel like it's gone just fine for me and for anyone else who chooses to vote by mail. So I'm going to say I agree with you. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
It was great to talk with you, Jim. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.